Cancer is here to stay. We are breathing carcinogens, we are eating carcinogens, we are living in a sea of carcinogens. So we have 10 years time to act. Mark my words, you have 10 years time to act.
So if there's one reminder that you would like to put on every woman's phone, what would that be?
When I'm operating, I'm meditating on the surgery. I'm totally onto it. Nothing else disturbs me. Take care of yourself as well as you take care of your family, and then you will not suffer.
So welcome to the program, Doctor, and it's a pleasure to always have you.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
So tell us something with more than 3 decades of rich experience in gynecology. What made you choose this specialization and what keeps you going?
Well, I was always passionate about being a doctor, and then when I got my 44th rank in my post-graduation, I decided to take OBGYN because many women are so unaware of health issues, and so I thought as a woman I should be able to help my fellow females. So that's one of the reasons why I took up OBGYN, and I'm very proud of being a gynecologist and an obstetrician. I've been practicing for the last 33 years. For myself, I do everything because I'm passionate about both obstetrics and gynecology. So we do with simple normal deliveries to complicated deliveries. As far as gynec is concerned, again, we do a variety of things up to robotics. So I love working every day and I'm passionate, and that keeps me going. The best part is I work with youngsters. So they keep tickling my brain and they keep me active on my toes all the time. So that's the thing about my practice.
Is there anything that you cannot do?
There are a lot of things I do not know to do. Maybe if I learn, I can do. But there are a lot of things, there's so many changes that's happening every day. So you need to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
So, Doctor, talking about women's health, how has this perspective changed ever since you became a gynecologist?
Well, previously, women used to come only when they were pregnant. Maybe 3 months after, not even once the pregnancy is confirmed. Maybe after 3 months of pregnancy, the grandmother and the mother or the mother-in-law bring the patient. And after delivery, they never come till they have some menstrual disturbance or they have some pain or something. Otherwise, women never went to the hospital. They never took the vaccines. They never had regular checkup. They were not well informed before. Contraception was not so well practiced then. Whereas now, when our patients get discharged after delivery, we talk to them about vaccination, we talk to them about contraception, spacing, what they need to do, physiotherapy after delivery. So these are all the things that we are able to do now, which we never did before. And women never came back after menopause also. Even they silently suffered with stress urinary incontinence, urge incontinence. Prolapse was so common then because the only thought was to have a normal delivery. So they push. They never know the long-term sequelae of having a very stressful normal delivery. But now the things have changed. Even for the slightest symptoms, they are able to come talk to us. From premarital sex to postmenopausal issues, people are willing to come talk to us, take our advice, and so the things are changing and evolving.
It definitely has come a long way. I can clearly see that.
Yeah.
So we are here today to talk about cervical cancer. So what exactly is cervix?
Cervix plays a very important role for the uterus, I would say. It's like the mouth of the face, right? So the cervix is the lowermost part of the uterus. It has an external opening and an internal opening, and it has a cavity. It has both two types of lining. The cervix is not exposed to a sexual life. Now it is safe. But once a woman is going through regular sexual activity and life, now this cervix gets traumatized sometimes. It is exposed to HPV virus. It is exposed to other infections and trauma. Now, the cervix also has an excellent capacity to heal. And when it is in its vulnerable state and when the virus comes and hits the cervix, that is when changes take place and this can lead to cancerous change. HPV infection is the most common sexually transmitted disease, not the HIV, HBS. HPV is it's the most common sexual transmitted disease. Now, this over a period of time, say the virus doesn't trouble you immediately. It gives you a lot of time to recover, to treat the early changes so that you don't go into cancer. But if the woman does not take the adequate care, over a period of 10 years, this HPV viral infection can change the normal cells to malignant cells. So we have 10 years time to act. Mark my words, you have 10 years time to act. So if we are able to take care, then we can almost eradicate cervical cancer. In fact, the WHO has come out with a program wherein by 2030, we want to eradicate cervical cancer. So how do we vaccinate these girls? So we have HPV vaccines, we have quadrivalent and nanovalent vaccines. So we give this vaccine. So when a girl, once she attains menarche, that is her first menstrual cycle, then we start giving the vaccine to the girls. So we can give only 2 doses of this vaccine if she is less than 15 years. If she crosses 15 years, then we give 3 doses of the vaccine, which gives you almost 80 to 90% protection from cancer. So the onus falls on us gynecologists to tell them, to educate every woman who comes, that ask her one question: have you been vaccinated? Are your children vaccinated? If not, please get yourself vaccinated. And what we do is, we have taken it upon us to do a pap smear or a liquid-based cytology for all women who come to our OP. So that is why it is very, very important to screen all women above 25 and to vaccinate all women below 40 so that we can bring down the cervical cancer burden. Because cancer is such a horrible feeling, So financially, emotionally, psychologically, family-wise, professional-wise. So in every way, it drains the woman and the entire family.
That's definitely a proactive approach, and it also sounds very simple.
It's very simple. It just has to be registered in their mind, in my mind, and the mind of all my team members.
So how is cervical cancer act? I mean, is it a sneaky cancer or does it have some red flag signs?
It's a bad cancer, definitely. But if diagnosed early and treated, they have an excellent quality life. See, most often they come with white discharge, foul-smelling discharge, or a blood stain with white discharge, or they come with postcoital bleeding. Sometimes they come with intermenstrual spotting on and off because there is a big growth. It is highly vascular and then they have this bleeding. And who are at more risk? One, a girl who is exposed to sexual life very early in life, multiple partners, multiple pregnancies, and who has not taken the vaccine and who is not having this pap smear done. Now, these are the people who are at a higher risk of developing cervical cancer.
So, doctor, don't you think talking about cancer or cervical cancer, there's still a lot of stigma attached to it and it's still a taboo? So, what are some common myths that you usually come across and that you would like to clear for us?
See, cancer is here to stay. We are breathing carcinogens, we are eating carcinogens, we are living in a sea of carcinogens, to put it simply. And some people are genetically more prone to develop cancers and some people are less prone to. Lifestyle is a very important thing. Your genetic predisposition is very important, and how well you take care of yourself. So first and foremost, we have to tell them we have treatment. We have beautiful treatments nowadays. But yes, prevention is always better than cure. So how to prevent is going for regular screening, not only for the pap smear. They can go for breast examination every year to a clinician who will examine the breast, and they can do a self-breast examination. Now it is no more a taboo. Everybody talks about it now. With social media being there, everybody talks about it, and we need to be open to it. Just like diabetes, just like hypothyroidism, just like anemia.
And doctor, you being so proactive when it comes to women's health. So if there's one reminder that you would like to put on every woman's phone, what would that be?
Take care of yourself. You're as important as your family and your work. So take one day in a week, 1 hour in a week, examine yourself, see for any changes in your body, and listen to the symptoms that the body gives you, warning signs you get. Like suddenly you start feeling tired very often. That means there is something wrong. Or a woman has suddenly excessive white discharge and itching. Most of our women with diabetes come with vaginal discharge and itching and a fungal infection. So listen to the signals your body gives. Don't ignore them. Take care of yourself as well as you take care of your family, and then you will not suffer.
So on a personal note, ma'am, how do you balance your work life? How do you unwind at the end of the day?
Well, I have a pet at home. So he keeps us busy. We have a garden. We go for long walks. We do our workouts. And we have good friends with whom we interact. And I'm passionate about the work I do. So my work doesn't give me stress. So if you enjoy the work that you do, if you're passionate about the work that you do, it's not stress anymore. Because like I would say, when I'm operating, I'm meditating on the surgery. I'm totally onto it. Nothing else disturbs me. And I don't like people talking and chatting around. So I totally meditate. So for me, surgery is like a meditation. Everybody asks me, how do you work from morning to evening? You're 60 plus and you still continue to work. I tell them only one thing, I'm with youngsters. So it keeps me.
I think I'm sure
full
even
of
they
energy.
feel that they're with a youngster and they're working with a youngster undoubtedly.
So I enjoy doing what I'm doing. So far, it's going good. And I hope God gives me the strength to do what I'm doing and to continue to do what I'm doing.
And finally, what message you would like to share with our viewers out there as far as women's health or cervical cancer is concerned?
Vaccinate yourself, get yourself screened, use protection, particularly young girls who are having premarital sex. Use protection, use condoms. Condoms protects you from most of the sexually transmitted diseases. Take care of yourself and don't ignore your health. Health is wealth.
So thank you, ma'am. It was wonderful interacting with you. And thank you,
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Lakshmi. Thank you so much. It's been a long time since we had a chat.